Hey everyone. So, the title of this video is not clickbait. Just thought I needed to kind of talk about it. I mean, we all go through these ups and downs in our lives. But I need to say, I think I should say that this video is for entertainment purposes only. So I'm not going to be using real names or anything like that. But in the story, my supervisor, let's call him Bob, that's not his real name, but Bob gives us a work pack. So if you don't know, I'm an aircraft mechanic. Been working with Bob for about a year. You know, and I thought we had a pretty good rapport there. Not saying it's all bad, but it's weird how things change. I'll say that much. So he gives us a work pack. You know, me and this other guy are doing a job. Supposed to paint some panels. They give us the workload. It says decorative paint. Okay. Just a touch up, right? So we go out to the airplane. The panels are chipped, peeled, whatever, cracked. There's bare composite showing underneath the paint. And the rest of the paint is in terrible condition. The whole panel needs to be taken off. So we do that just so to make it easier to paint. We do that. We take it to our garage. We don't have a paint shop, but we take it to the garage and start scraping off the old paint. It's gonna rain soon. Probably not bad though. It's just one cloud above me. So we see the damage on this panel is extensive, and there's some corrosion going on. So we take the panel off. We start scraping it off. It's taken a while just to get everything ready to paint. So after we scrape off the paint, we start looking for the stuff we need to reapply paint on the panel. And by this time, Bob is already kind of frustrated, and he's known for this, just being flustered all the time, just always seem to be, having problems with some kind of stress or pressure, and you can often see him with, heavy sighing and putting his hand on his forehead, and you just wonder if he's able to cope. And then he's like pressuring us to get this panel painted, and we're trying to mix the primer. So we find the primer. So you're supposed to put a layer of primer underneath the top coat paint. But this primer had been sitting in the cabinet so long that it's basically just a lump of clay sitting in a solution of MEK, which is like a dangerous chemical, and known to be very toxic and cancerous, and just the fumes, so we're trying to get this stuff onto the panel, but we don't have a paint shaker in order to kind of mix the primer together to make, and that's just one part of the two parts that have to go together. So we're mixing and mixing. We have these white suits on to protect us from the stuff, but you have to knead this ball of toxic chemicals with your hands, and you got gloves on, but then the thing breaks, And like I'm watching my partner kind of do this, um, and he's getting it all over his skin. Like it's not good for you. You got to wash it off. So we just keep doing this. It's like making us frustrated that we're getting blamed for the delay, basically. When these panels are already deferred maintenance, they can be deferred until they get to a place where they actually have a proper paint shop, or until the plane goes into C-check, which is heavy maintenance. They basically tear everything apart and repair everything. And even there, like, the mechanics don't mess with paint. They send it to a painter whose full-time job it is to paint panels. And here we are. We're basically just trying to get this done for the customer and the boss, because he's frustrated. He wants it done, and it's basically like he gets out there while we're doing this, and we're trying to apply primer and scrape off, the old chipped paint that's just gonna fall off anyway. He's like, well, I didn't tell you to do that. Like, it's damned if you do, damned if you don't. Like, we're gonna look bad whether we, if we do this for you, we do it the wrong way, like you want us to. We just throw a top coat onto the panel and call it good, or we do it the right way, and we know you're not going to be happy. So we're both kind of upset about this situation, because the boss is just pressuring us to get it done so that we don't have any delays. But as mechanics, that's really, you're not supposed to just accept. And you guys might be surprised to hear this. We're not supposed to just do what we're told every time. If somebody tells you to do something unethical, or that you just feel isn't right, because at that time it was the principle of the thing, you're not supposed to do it. And I know this, but I kind of stopped caring about my job that much. But the fact that we were dealing with these toxic substances, and we didn't have the tools to deal with them properly, and just kind of, and it was just getting to me. So the boss comes in. He's like, hey, just install those panels, throw whatever paint you got on there. And I didn't get angry at him, but I looked at him and I said, you do it. He said, what? I said, you do it. I'm not doing it. And he's just looking at me like kind of surprised, I guess, because, like I said, we had known each other for a year, and nothing like this has ever come up. But you can see that he got angry, and he immediately just said, all right, give me your badge, and I'll show you where you can stick it. That's what he said. And it's like, wow, geez, that's kind of harsh, but okay. I didn't even hesitate. I handed him the badge. The HR representative, basically, at that branch, walked me out of the building because I have to be escorted off the premises. This guy, he likes me, kind of, this HR representative. So we get to talking while we're walking out, It's like, you sure you want to do this, you know? And at that point, I had resigned myself. I didn't really even know why I put it that way in the beginning, or why it just kind of came out like that. Because I'm a very direct person, I guess. And I didn't really expect him to react like that. But at that point, I was frustrated that I was getting blamed for something. Well, for standing up to a guy who keeps telling us that he'll just sign off all of our work, even if, like, we don't have to take any responsibility because he'll just sign it off. He'll sign his name like he did it. So I told him to do it. Like, I feel like that shouldn't be a surprise, you know? But he got really offended that I didn't want to do what he said, and it was insubordination, basically. So, I'm walking out there and, like, yeah, you know, I'm talking to the guy. I get a call from the guy I was working with that said I quit. So while we're out there, it starts to rain, so we're kind of standing in the guard shack, waiting to go out. And it was at that time, pretty soon after we got there. It's only like a minute walk, but you know, I talked to my friend during that time and told him that I quit, because I was ready for that to be my last day. And just, I probably would have my first thought was, I wonder when I'm gonna fly out of the country. So, you know, I just have this wanderlust, and that was what I was thinking I was gonna do. But my second thought was a little more sobering. I'll probably get another job at some point, because it's not hard to find another one in this industry. And I'm a contractor, so I don't really have really any rights when it comes to being let go. This isn't the first time it's happened. But it was at that time that Bob calls me back, like, hey, if you want to come back, it's your choice, basically, it's up to you. So yeah, I didn't really know if I wanted to at that point, or how I could even stomach walking back in there at that point. But you know, I was ready to recognize my part in it. Like, I don't know why I reacted that way necessarily, or why I wasn't a bit more careful with how I said it. I should say it that way. How I said it was the problem. And you know, I like, he told me to do two things: put the panel back on the airplane, and throw whatever paint you got on there. It was the second thing that I was objecting to, because if you read the reference, you know, and I got the same. So I mentioned that he called me back, and I went back in. I said, okay, I'm sorry for what I said, but I'm still not painting the panel, basically. It's like this guy doesn't listen. He didn't really listen to me when I said that. Cause when I said, but I'm still not, that's all he heard. And then he's like, so you're not gonna take it back? And then I like, but I'm sorry. And he's like, oh, here you go. Yeah. Like, like, man, why is this such an issue in this industry? Like, people just don't, they just react based on just pure raw feelings. Like, you get your feelings hurt, and these guys think they're tough, and they get their feelings hurt and they just react. And that's what frustrates me about the whole thing. Like, he doesn't listen. But so I apologize for what I said, and nothing changes. Like he thinks that I've basically accepted all responsibility. And the next day, I walked back into work because I was scheduled to work that. My friend didn't show up. I guess he had a family emergency or something, you know. But he puts me on the same job because there's more panels to paint. They did get painted with the wrong color. They didn't even have the right color paint, so they didn't match when they got back on the airplane. But I did install them, so you know, he gives me the same job, and I'm like, okay, but I'm not painting the panels. And it's almost like he's surprised, like, why not? Like, I thought I already made that clear. Like, I'm trying to stand up for, like, this is, it's not a moral issue, right? Because it's not a safety thing, it's just a panel. I mean, it could cause problems down the road if we let it get that far. And not that I think anybody's going to let it get that far, but this is just kind of an emblematic of the whole industry, this problem of just kind of push stuff through and get the plane off the ground as quick as possible. And I'm like, that's not my responsibility. It's not my concern how long the plane spends on the ground. I am hired and I am contracted to do the work necessary to fix the problem in accordance with the procedures that we're supposed to follow in order to do these repairs to the airplane and all its parts. And there is actually a procedure for painting panels, and that panel specifically, and I found it. He's like, you know, and after I said I wasn't going to paint them, he's like, well, did you read the procedure? I don't have to be, I can't be told to do things that are against the procedure. He's like, did you read the procedure? And at that time, like, I know the procedure doesn't tell you to put just a plain layer of top coat over bare composite panels, right? And over dry, chipped, cracked paint. So I'm like, whatever. But he knows how it is. I'm not painting the panels. Okay, I install the panels. I'll put the screws in the holes, no problem. And this has never been a problem between me and him before. It's like, I've known the guy for a year and I've been working with him. And it's kind of upsetting that even after that much time, it's like nobody knows me in this place, for one. They treat me like I'm a stranger. You know, I guess you have to really be some kind of go-getter to, you know, attract attention and like just be a mega brain out there fixing airplanes. That's not really what I'm there for. I'm just there to make my money and go home and just basically just do my job. And I was trying to do my job correctly. And the fact that he told me that he didn't tell me to do it when I was doing it the correct way is what I had a problem with. So I showed him the corrosion prevention manual. It's like, look, this is what it says to do. It's not what you said to do. And he's not, you can tell he's still not paying attention. He's trying to kind of avoid even acknowledging, but he's like responding, but it's like these canned answers that don't, but he's just denying everything, basically. You know, like if you're not careful, you can get in trouble for that kind of thing. Just signing other people's work just to push it through if you didn't actually evaluate the work. And that's the problem. Like, I wasn't, like, what he was asking me to do was not the correct procedure. So at some point you got to stand your ground a little bit and it hurts a little bit. But I was kind of resigned to my fate. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have to move on, wherever life takes me at this point. And it's not like I had an anger problem. So basically, to make a long story a little bit shorter, I'm still employed. So I don't know what it just kind of I was so done at that day. It's like sometimes you get to the point where you just want to throw it all away and start a new life, but I think I've since come to the conclusion that that's not the best way to deal with things. You know, if you're having that one of those days in your job, and you know, being sick of the culture, and it's best to take a measured approach and plan out ahead instead of just letting things get to the point where you make these brash decisions. And you know, like, I appreciate the guy who walked me out that day and kind of talked me down a little bit. And you know, I realized that it wasn't time for me to just drop everything and leave, you know. Although I know I probably would if I was comfortable doing that, basically. I can't complain, you know, about my position in life. You know, I've lived very frugally, and it's because of that I really don't need that job. And you know, but basically my brother did the same thing at his job. I only found out about this today, but you know, he hasn't really talked to me about it, but he's in the same line of work and he hates it. And I guess he's just sitting at home playing video games now. So after saving up as much money as he has doing that job, you know, more power to him, I guess. He's, you know, he sits in his house with his cat, and kind of it's just kind of the way America feels to me, because because of my travel experiences. I wish I didn't have to be here, basically. But I'm just not comfortable making the leap yet, and just saying forget all this, like forget the money I'm making, because it's, you know, it's not bad money. Even though I don't really have a life outside of work, and you know, except for making videos, and you know, I appreciate my time off because it's a pretty cool schedule. I only work 3 days a week, but I work 13 and a third hours on those 3 days. And it's over the weekend, so obviously that's a drawback, but at least I don't have to work at night anymore. So if you're looking for a little bit of a, you know, the kind of the truth on the aviation industry, you might be surprised just how disorganized it is. You know, a lot of these guys who are involved in this industry, they're not like me. They're kind of, you know, and I feel like I've never really fit in, you know, because I'm from a place, I'm from West Virginia, where a lot of these people are like this. They're just kind of tough, and like, you know, my way or the highway, basically. And I bet Bob felt that way, because he's never been told no before, so he's come to expect that basically it is his way or the highway. And like, if you question him, well, you need to be fired. But so in the end, I ended up just getting wrote up, and like, I'll accept that, you know, no big deal. I might still change jobs, you know, I might still quit soon, but it depends on how it plays out. But like I kind of tried to explain to him, because I had a lot of support after that from my colleagues, not just the guy I was working with, but other people who heard about what happened. Basically, I was fired and then brought back and unfired because my Bob, he figured out that he didn't have the authority to do that. And they really need people, so they're not just gonna let me go for something, for the first offense, basically. It kind of surprised me that he was willing to just fire me at the drop of a hat, even after we'd known each other for a year, and I actually kind of liked the guy. And I kind of surprised myself in a way, at just how ready I was to be done with it. But in the end, I don't think making brash decisions is the answer. So I'm going to continue working and, you know, living my frugal lifestyle, but I do intend to get to go abroad more often, hopefully in the future. And at some point, I can kind of wean myself off of this living that I'm making here and get back to doing what I really want. But I'll reveal more about kind of where this came from and where I'm going in the future. So stay tuned for more videos. Hopefully that's not too much to reveal. I don't have many secrets in my life anymore. So in the end, I think it's important to have a little bit of integrity as well. You know, especially if you're going to be doing the type of work that I do. A lot of these people, I think, are very conservative, and I don't have a problem with that. You know, I don't really talk about politics too much, but you know, I think these people would pride themselves on their integrity, and they think they have a lot of integrity. But when it comes down to it, just doing whatever you're told, no matter what it is, that's not integrity. And if that's what you do, I think, or if that's what you expect from people, you need to give a hard thought on what integrity actually is and how you can better be the person that you think you are. So anyway, I just thought that was important to share, because I know a lot of people are struggling out there with their jobs and whether they should continue, and you know, why is it so hard to live in America anymore, and basically don't give up, you know, and have a little integrity. If it comes down to it, you're allowed to stand up for yourself, and just God bless, all the best to everyone out there. See you later.